Harrison who are joining us online. The Office of General Counsel is represented by Rebecca Levy. Budget is represented by Stephanie Neely. And before we begin reviewing today's agenda, I'll note that there isn't anyone physically present for public comment. And Haley, did you receive any public comment via email?
No comments.
All right, let the record show there was no public comment. I'll pause for a moment to allow callers joining us online to unmute and speak up. Hearing no comments, we'll proceed with today's regular agenda. We have items 1 through 9 that have been reviewed by Procurement and Budget. These items are now ready to be reviewed by the Awards Committee, beginning with item 1, representing the minutes from May 12th, 2022 Awards Committee meeting. Are there any comments or corrections to be discussed? Okay, with that, may I get a motion to approve award item 1?
Hi, Boo. So moved.
Joe Orfano, second.
We have a motion from Hai Vu, a second from Joe Orfano. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Minutes are approved as presented. I'll pass it over to Jenny McCollum, our Chief Procurement Officer, to walk us through each of the remaining items before I ask for a motion, beginning with item 2.
Wonderful. Thank you. Through the chair, we have award number 2, which is a contract increase. This is for JEA's Investment Recovery Painting Program. What we use this contract for is to paint JEA 14 and 18-foot decorative street light poles and light heads, pad mount, and 3-phase transformers and switch cabinets. Transformer Maintenance and Service Inc. is our recommended awardee in the amount of $488,055. This contract ends in November of 2022. And a little bit of history, this was competitively bid and approved by the Awards Committee in October of 2019 and a little bit over $1 million. This was for the 3-year period. Also, the program requirements are driven by customers who want to improve the appearance of our transformers, switch cabinets, et cetera, in their neighborhoods. The painting program also gives back twofold in that it prolongs the life expectancy of the items repaired by preventing premature failure due to corrosion. The driver of this request in particular is just due to the team receiving more work in this year than they have in previous years. The increased usage had been identified for some time, but we kind of had a billing hiccup, if you will, and a work order reconciliation process with the vendor. And so part of this award is a ratification of about $188,000. The investment recovery team is working with the vendor to implement a new process, and we will be bidding this out, and we will include that new process in our future solicitation. But this increase will get us through the next 7 months, approximately $50,000 per month, and then the addition of in addition to that, the award amount includes that ratification piece. I will pause there and see if you guys have any questions or comments. All right, seeing none, I'll pass it back to the committee for a vote.
Thank you, Jenny. May I get a motion to approve award item 2?
Joe Orfano, so moved.
And a second?
Hi, Boo. Second.
We have a motion from Joe Orfano, a second from Hai Vu. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion is adopted. I'll pass it over to Jenny to present award item 3.
Thank you. Through the chair, award number 3 is a contract increase. This is for our COVID-19 workplace / return to work testing for our JEA employees. We have a contract with Mayo Clinic, Florida, and we are recommending an increase in the amount of $130,680. We set this one up originally when we informally bid this out back in November of 2020 as a project completion so that we had the flexibility to, continue to use this until further notice, since we really don't know kind of what the future holds for COVID. But we bid this out in the November of 2022 in the amount of $190,000. We've done a few administrative increases between now and then, which brought us to our informal cap of $300,000. Due to the uncertainty and of the nature of the pandemic and subsequent variants, it was deemed in the best interest of JEA to continue to receive these services for an additional 11 months. So the monthly invoice amounts vary, but our average is about 11 or 12,000 a month. And so that is how we determine the award amount. It's going to vary based off of the test that we need to perform. So this is just an estimate. And then I'll just note that pricing has remained fixed since the beginning of the contract in November of 2020. So this is strictly just an increase in funds to continue to utilize the contract. Do you guys have any questions or comments? All right, I'll pass it back to the chair for a vote.
May I get a motion to approve award item 3?
Dutton, so moved.
And a second?
Ricky, second.
We have a motion from Laura Dutton, a second from Ricky Erickson. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? The motion is adopted. I'll pass it back over to Jenny to present award item 4.
Thank you. Through the chair, award number 4 is a renewal. This is for our facilities, janitorial services. It's what we refer to as our open market, and it covers downtown service centers and other sites. Trusted Hand Service, Inc. is our recommended awardee in the amount of $1,021,956.33. This award is actually being presented to utilize both of the one-year renewals. So this would bring us to the end of May of 2024. A little bit of background. Originally, we bid this out as a one-year term with these 2 renewals as a backup. We weren't quite sure exactly what was happening with the new headquarters and a few other things, so we did a shorter term. But now we have a little bit more information, and so what the suggestion was to the business was to go ahead and renew for both years and lock in pricing at this time, since we have seen quite an increase in labor prices over the last year. We'll go ahead and lock in those rates, and they are going to hold the same rates that they are giving us today. So that will be a 3-year term with fixed rates for the whole 3 years. As a note and a little bit more history on how we came up with this award amount. So the budget estimate was based on the existing annual allowance. Over the past few months, several business changes have influenced the decision to reduce our overall contract amount. So you'll see our original award amount for 1 year is approximately the same as what we are presenting to the committee for this 2-year renewal. Some of those, changes, included the new headquarters. So this will reduce the regular cleaning services for the downtown complex. The janitorial services are included in our new lease, so that won't transfer over when we move to the new headquarters. So we took that into account. In addition, and in alignment with the CDC protocols, the majority of the COVID-19 cleaning protocols were suspended in April of this year, except for our customer service lobby. So those changes combined will provide a reduction in the cost of about $665,000 annually. We left the storm support for downtown in place as a precautionary measure in support of needs, if needed during a storm. And then we also had, in addition to the cleaning services for the new training center located at Berlin Road, which is expected to be completed in April of 2023. So the business has done a good job looking at this holistically and trying to determine a really solid plan moving forward for the next 2 years. I will stop there and ask if you guys have any comments or questions.
Hey, Jenny, this is Hai. I have a question. I'm sorry I didn't research it enough. I do remember when we first awarded this, part of the requirement was that this company was going to have to pay their employees required wage, right? I think that's the same contract here. And so I'm concerned that really for the 2 1-year renewals, and we're locked in at the same rate, and with inflation, et cetera, the way they are, that the required rates, the wages that we're requiring for them to pay the employees may increase, and the company doesn't have any markup in the rate. So how are we going to address that when that time comes when the wages will have to be increased? Will they have to come back and ask for an increase to the contract? Yeah, makes sense.
Yes, I have that too.
Hi, Jenny. Hi. I would imagine that it's applicable. And was your question, I could barely hear. I'm sorry. Hi, do you mind repeating? You're asking if the increase to the wages is applicable under this and the renewals, correct?
I fully expect that the wages will have to be increased just because of the way things are. And with such a slim margin, I don't think there's any markup in this contract for the company, and our requirements of wages. How are we going to address that if and when the time comes? If we have a 2-year contract.
You're absolutely correct. There was not any wages included in that. To be honest, when we initially started this, it was just to be a 1-year renewal and then a year after that. So there is not any addition in there for the extra year, 2 years that's in there. So, Jenny, how would we handle something like that?
So don't you guys look at, isn't it attached to, what do we look at from that minimum wage? We have it attached to some public, I'm sorry, I don't remember it off the top of my head. Do you recall what the name of that is that we look at when we're looking to make sure that their wages are in line with some public index or
yeah, the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Sorry. So has that changed at all? Have we looked at that? And if so, I mean, I think, Hi, to your point, we do look at, that is what we're looking to make sure their wages are in line. So if we haven't seen changes in that, then my assumption is that it stays fixed until something adjusts there. So
yeah, and I guess that's my question. I wasn't worried about a 1-year increase because if there are no changes, I'm just worried about 2-year increase and locking in the same rates. And with inflation the way it is, we know that our employees are worried about it. I'm just worried about us dealing with the business and really looking out for their workers. You know,
This contract does have CPI increases, so they should with the following years, be able to ask for that. I would have to do a comparison of how that looks. And I can do that and follow up following awards.
So if we need to change the write-up if we're going to allow them to utilize their CPI increases in that second year renewal. Because right now we just say we're going to lock in the current rates. So we can make that adjustment and also make a note about, the review of the labor rates that, we're attached to.
Good morning, Jenny. This is Elaine Selders, and I'm looking at the solicitation. We did not include an annual price adjustment clause in the solicitation. Okay. The vendor did agree to the 2-year renewal and did not have a problem with the same terms and conditions. They didn't voice a concern, so that isn't in there at this time. But I'm not sure how we would, if we had an issue with them coming back to us down the road, I guess we would have a discussion, and at that point, how best to proceed.
Yeah, we've got the option. We do have a 10% administrative option that we can utilize in that second year if we need to, from an increase to the contract amount without having to come back to the awards committee. I want to make sure that the committee is comfortable that we kind of have a plan in place before we have them approve it. So we can add some additional language to the write-up to address, what happens in year 2. I think we can handle likely any kind of increase without having to come back to the committee at that point. But open to feedback from the committee on how you would like to, on your preference, if you want to defer this or if you want us to, if you're comfortable with us adding some language.
Yeah, I like the idea of adding flexibility, either tied to an index that we can increase the contract. And I understand that the company did not request any increases. But really, my question, because we require them to pay their employees at a certain wage, it is incumbent for us to make sure that they follow that requirement in future contracts. So if the wages increase, we want to make sure that they follow it, and we want to be fair to the company and to pay them accordingly. So really, that's my intent is protection of their employees, because they are working for us. We want to be fair to the employees and the company and give them the flexibility of increasing that price if they have to, if and when the borough change their numbers.
Understood. So why don't we take a stab at, before the chair, if you guys approve this before the chair signs off, we can take a stab at updating that last sentence in the first paragraph of the background to include some language about the second renewal option and refer back to the Bureau of Labor rates to make sure that they are adjusting accordingly based off of that, because that's really where they're tied, and that we would, I can more eloquently write that up for you guys, but to make sure we have that in there before the chair signs off, if you guys are comfortable with that.
No, I'm comfortable with that. I think the premise behind that original discussion was to prevent a high rate of turnover, that the people that are coming to work for this company would stay and serve JEA's needs better without disruption.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Part of it, yes.
Yeah, that was part of it. Yeah.
And likely our our requirements are higher than probably what they would have paid if we had not put that in there. So,
Yeah.
but we'll point back to it because we do have something we can point to that we look at to make sure their rates align with market. Any other comments or questions?
That's a good recommendation. Let's move forward with that.
Okay. All right, I'll pass it back to the chair for a vote.
Thank you, Jenny. May I get a motion to approve Award 4 with amendments?
Highway, so moved.
And a second?
Joe Orfano, second.
We have a motion from Haivu, a second from Joe Arpano. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? The motion is adopted. I'll pass it over to Jenny to present award item 5.
Thank you. Through the chair, award number 5 is a request for proposal. This is for facilities, roofing repair and installation services. JEA owns approximately 1,800 structures requiring roof maintenance. This contract would cover install, repair, insulation, and sheet metal flashing. Register Roofing and Sheet Metal, Inc. is our recommended awardee in the amount of $1,264,064.48. This is a 1-year term with some optional renewals. JEA received 3 proposals, so we feel pretty good about that competition. I believe in the past we haven't had as good a competition, so that was positive. And then also, you know, when we are looking at like who utilizes this contract, they are utilized both by the facilities, O&M, and capital groups. And so the capital group is more of an unplanned asset failure when they would utilize this, and the O&M project group utilizes it for general roofing repairs and maintenance that they, you know, have scheduled. The workbook is comprised of scenario-based service descriptions, just so we can have pricing for everything we think we might need to service, but it's not intended to represent the annual usage. So that's why you see quite a large discrepancy between what's on their bid workbooks and then what we're actually awarding to them. And so the award amount is you know, based off of using the annual average spend over the last 3 years for O&M services. And then it includes an allowance for the overall rate increases reflected, you know, in the current bid submission. So we did see rates go up about 12% from a material and labor standpoint. We also have the capital portion closely aligned to the actual annual usage, and that mirrors our capital budget for this. So we've incorporated those pieces into the award amount. I'll just note also there was approximately 27% increase due to just additional services that we added that weren't in the original contract workbook. So this should give us a pretty good representation of work that we feel like could happen. We've got pricing established. The award is just an estimate. It can fluctuate depending on the severity and the frequency of major repairs and unplanned failures, but we feel we've got ourselves covered from a rate perspective. I'll also note too that this is the incumbent. They have been performing well. They had the last contract was a 5-year with a 1-year renewal, and we used them for the last 6 years. They did not have an increase over that 6 years. It was flat for 6 years. So we did anticipate an increase in rates due to that. So just something else to note for the committee from a reasonableness perspective on their increase. Are there any questions or comments?
Jenny, this is Stephen. Just a minor correction in the 3rd paragraph. We just need to update the wording to reflect 26%?
Yep, we will make that happen. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's done.
Speedy, I like it. Any other
Okay.
comments? All right, I'll pass it back to the chair for a vote.
Thank you, Jenny. May I get a motion to approve award item 5?
I vote so moved.
And a second?
Forgotten second.
All right. We have a motion from Hai Vu, a second from Laura Dutton. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? The motion is adopted. I'll pass it over to Jenny to present award item 6.
Thank you. Through the chair, award number 6 is a request for proposal. This is for the design build services for circuits 853, I assume, and 822 or through 822, Tower 39 foundation rehabilitation. So these are whatever those circuits are for Tower 39. So this is for the rehab. The recommended awardee, Underwater Mechanic Services LLC, is in the amount of $169,795.38. We expect this project to be completed in July of 2023. We received 3 proposals. We went through negotiations since this is a design build. This was all based off of, and it's the most qualified with no price. And so after we deemed them the most qualified, we went into negotiations, and we have noted that the proposed engineering design proposal is about 6% higher than what we had originally estimated. But we included some additional scope into the design, which wasn't included in our original estimate. So that's how we have accounted for that extra 6%. The design proposal is about 10% of the estimated construction costs, which is well within the kind of acceptable range when we're looking at the design based over the overall construction. This is design build, so you will see this again once we have the design completed. We will be coming back for the construction piece. So stay tuned. Any questions or comments? All right, I'll pass it back to the chair for a vote.
May I get a motion to approve award item 6?
Ricky, so moved.
And a second?
I vote second.
We have a motion from Ricky Erickson, a second from Hai Vu. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion is adopted. I'll pass it over to Jenny to present award item 7.
Thank you. Through the chair, award number 7 is a joint project. This is a utility replacement project with FDOT. This project is for the replacement of existing sewer, force main, and water mains that conflict with the new storm sewer being installed as part of FDOT's road widening and reconstruction project. So this recommended awardee is the Florida Department of Transportation in the amount of $2,117,766. We expect this to be completed in September of 2024. And just as a reminder, so JEA's utility construction work will be included in the FDOT's bid and constructed by FDOT's contractor via the terms and conditions of our existing master agreement with them. Anytime we can partner with them, it minimizes our costs, primarily the roadway restoration costs. They pay for those. So something that we would not have to pay for if we had to do this project on our own or replace those systems on our own. Per the agreement, we prepay FDOT for the estimated value of the construction work, but if after bidding the prepaid amount is more than the construction cost, we'll ask for a refund. If it comes in higher, then we will come back to the committee to reconcile that. So I'll just note too, it looks like the water portion of this project is about 1.6 million and the sewer portion is about 470,000. So I'll pause there and ask if you guys have any questions or comments. All right, seeing none, I'll pass it back to the chair for a vote.
Thank you, Jenny. May I get a motion to approve award item 7?
Joe Orfano, so moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion from Joe Orfano, a second from Laura Dutton. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion is adopted. I'll pass it over to Jenny to present award item 8.
Thank you. Through the chair, award number 8 is a single source. This is for our Brandy Branch generating station units 2 and 3. So it's the feed water heater replacement project. A little bit of history. The gas turbine units 2 and 3 feed water heater bundles are at the end of life after 18 years in operation. Each gas combustion turbine unit has a heat regenerating steam generator, and each of those have 3 feed water heater bundles. So this award is for the purchase of those feed water heater, that portion of it. The install will be completed by a separate contract. So this is just for the purchase of that, of the equipment. Optimus Industries Llc, doing business. I'm not even gonna try to say the doing business name. If someone wants to chime in, I'm horrible when it comes to finding that stuff out. But the recommended awardee in the amount of $3,236,774. Our project completion estimate is May of 2023. And I'll just make a note, we really didn't have a whole lot of cost comparisons here. These have been in place for 18 years. But when considering our current prices in the steel market and the cost of fabricated products, the quote was higher than what we had expected or estimated. We did purchase the LP evaporators for unit 2 and 3 back in 18, which was $4.3 million, and that included installation services. So it was just kind of a rough estimate of something that we could compare it to, but clearly, the scope is very different. But when we compare the pricing to the potential impacts to the plant from reduced operations or downtime, we feel it very reasonable to move forward. So I'll pause there and ask if you guys have any questions or comments. All right, I'll pass it back to the chair for a vote.
Thank you. May I get a motion to approve award item 8?
So moved.
And a second?
Ricky, second.
We have a motion from Haivu, a second from Ricky Erickson. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? The motion is adopted. I'll pass it over to Jenny to present our final award item for today.
Thank you. Through the chair, award number 9 is the contract termination. This is for our Ponte Vedra Boulevard 6-inch cast iron water main replacement project. We are requesting approval to terminate for default due to DB Civil Construction LLC failing to timely complete the project and failure to provide a corrective action plan and project schedule. They were awarded this contract through a competitive process back in December of 2020. Substantial completion for this project was scheduled to be October of 2021, with final completion at the end of November of 2021. There was a lot of communication with this vendor from a project management standpoint before procurement got involved to start issuing cure letters to them. So there was a lot of behind the scenes work going on to try to make this contract work. But the business came to us in April of 2022 to go ahead and send a letter and a notice to cure, asking them for that written plan and schedule to complete the work since we were so far off schedule. We had also notified them of liquidated damages prior to that. And so the communication was ample. Those are just some of the examples. And what they provided was not satisfactory to us. And so we let them know that we had planned to move forward with the termination for default. And in addition, we will be suspending their bidding privileges for 2 years following the approval of the awards committee. So there's a few things that we will do, subsequent and after the awards committee approval. But we have given them, notice to stop work immediately, the intent to terminate for default, and have come to you all for the official approval. Once you guys approve, our next steps are to call the surety company, their bond, and move forward from there on advice of general counsel. So those would be our next steps. Do you guys have any questions, comments? I'll note in the business, if you guys can confirm, I don't believe we have any other work being performed by DV Civil Construction at this time. Is that correct?
Jenny, this is Beth DeMayo. Yes, that's correct.
Thanks, Beth. Any questions from the committee?
Yeah, this is hard. I wanted to comment that we didn't make this decision lightly. I met with the contractor with our project teams twice to address the issues and to come up with solutions. Yet both times the company said a lot of the right things but failed to follow through. As you can see, we are over 6 months late, around 7 months late, in a very sensitive, critical area of service territory. So it is time to cut the cord, and we have to bring out our forces and our trusted contractors in to finish the work, because the customers are ready for us. They have been ready for us to come in and take care of this. So.
And we were starting to get, complaints from the customers, but also from a safety perspective, right, Hy?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, the St. Johns County is involved in with the roads, et cetera. So we have to get this completed.
This is Joe, somewhat disingenuous, citing the Players' Championship as well as an excuse, since they're already
late.
They're already late.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
when I read that, this is not very good.
Any other comments? All right, I'll pass it back to the chair for a vote.
Thank you, Jenny. May I get a motion to approve award item 9?
Joe Orfano, so moved.
And a second.
Have a second.
We have a motion from Joe Orfano, a second from Hy Vu. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion is adopted. The entire agenda representing items 1 through 9 is approved for May 19th, 2022. I would like to announce that we have a change in our awards committee coming up in June. Laura Dutton has served as an award committee member for over a year, and I'd like to thank her on behalf of the committee for the services that she's provided. Yeah. Great job, we'll miss you. We also have Laura Shepis coming in, and she'll serve as a committee member beginning in June. So Laura Shepis brings a wealth of experience and contracts, and I know that she'll be a great fit for the committee. So with that, I thank you. And is there any other business to come before the awards committee at this time? All right, seeing none, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.